You might remember a couple of videos back in this series of vlogs that I do, I talked about 5 games I wanted to play in the near future. 2 of those games went out when I recorded and they still aren't out, so of the remaining 3, which one do you think I started playing? I'll give you a second or two to think about it. If you picked anything on the screen right now, then you just lost all your points, because the game I went with in the end was Remnant from the Ashes, a game that I am very late to, so late in fact that a sequel has been and gone even, but I got it for free off the Epic Games Store, so I had to at least give it a try. I think it's a pretty widely known game, but just in case anyone doesn't know, Remnant is basically just Dark Souls with guns. There's bonfires, there's recharging Estus, there's scavenging Titanite shards in the environment for gear upgrades, and there's even fog walls at boss fights. The only difference between Remnant and Dark Souls is that instead of shanking a dude with a sword, you're whipping out a fucking Glock and putting 2 between the eyes from 50 to 100 paces. I'm still pretty early on in the game, so my crippling Dead by Daylight addiction has ensured that my progress is pretty slow, but so far I'm having a good time with it. If you ask me to describe Remnant in a single word, I think the word I would go with is stiff. The controls, for example, are about as responsive as they need to be, but every so often I have to look down at my keyboard to make sure it's not been replaced with an Atari 2600 joystick while I wasn't looking. In most situations, it's not a noticeable amount of stiffness, but, the controls really started to annoy me when I had a big lad coming at me with other smaller, explodey lads flanking me, and suddenly the awkward rolling stopped being a quirky thing in this 2019 Souls clone and started being hair-pullingly annoying. Of the 3 boss fights I've had so far, 2 of them have been incredibly frustrating, and 1 of them have been frustratingly easy. There's one boss where there's this sort of low poly Melissa McBride on one side of a church, and she has to escape from her tree prison while dudes filter in and try to kill her. The enemies that show up aren't exactly hard to deal with, but Melissa McBride has about 5 hit points, and the game likes to spawn in these cloaked lads with harpoon sniper rifles to make sure she stays firmly pinned to the vine she's tangled in. After a bunch of trial and error I beat it, but it sure as shit wasn't fun in the slightest. Contrast that with the boss that came after, which was literally just a dude with a shotgun who went down so easy that I'm not sure if him having a big health bar and a name was not some kind of strange bug. It's frustrating to have a boss that feels like trial and error dogshit, and it's equally frustrating to have normal enemies with beefed up health bars waste my time. I'm hoping the quality of the bosses goes up as the game goes on, and even though the areas so far have been mostly pretty linear, I'm having fun blasting my way through them. Time will tell, I guess. One feature I do really like in this game is that there's little arrows on your status screen that tell you at a glance if your numbers are up to task for a given area. I spent a long time not upgrading any gear because I was doing that typical gamer thing of, what if I need these upgrade materials later? And as a result, the first boss was two-shotting me, but when I noticed that little down arrow in my UI and pumped my numbers a bit, it became much more manageable. If it wasn't for that, I might have spent a long time stubbornly fighting that dude until I got a perfect run on him, instead of just making my stats better, so, I appreciate that at least. Anyway, Remnant's not the only thing I've been playing for the last couple of weeks. I've also been playing Breath of Fire on the Super Nintendo. Like Grandia 2, it's a game I've beaten a long time ago and remember basically nothing about it, so it almost feels like I'm playing it for the first time again. Also, this is my first time playing the Super Nintendo version of Breath of Fire, because when I beat it in my high school days, it was with the Game Boy Advance version. I read on Google that the GBA versions are easier, like they give more EXP on gold or something, but I don't remember the GBA versions very well, and the grind on the SNES one so far hasn't been too much of a problem. I only really started Breath of Fire as a simple and cozy little, make number go up RPG, when I either don't have time or can't be fucked with Remnant, so, having to walk in circles to get gold or experience doesn't really bother me here. One last thing I want to touch on is my playthrough of Arcanum on stream. I was hoping I would warm up to this game as time went on, but, things are just getting way worse. I can't stand this fucking game. It's so aggressively boring. I got myself into a situation in my last stream where I reported a quest to some guy about what happened to his dwarf friends, and he didn't like the news I gave him, so he jumped me. Of course, he's just some fucking toff that can't fight for shit, so I shoved my magic sword through his neck and the necks of all his guards and butlers, only to find that the 2 guards he had posted at his front door were like 4 times my level and would murder me and my 2 buddies in a couple of hits. He luckily had a basement escape route that I could use to bypass those guards, but the long underground corridor had 4 locked doors that needed kicking down. It wasn't hard to kick them down or anything, but having to sit there and just wait while my priest friend punches a door until it explodes was just extremely boring. I scoured the house for keys too. I didn't find shit, so if there's any Arcanum fans out there that want to be like, actually, if you cast level 4 Kius Apirus on his bedside table, you can just escape the easy way, then you can fuck off, because my guy is statted to be an idiot who bonks people with an axe, and if playing him that way makes this game boring, then it just proves my point in my last vlog about why I think CRPGs are trash. I have to play this one to the end since it's a viewer request, and that means someone gave money to the Alzheimer's charity to make it happen, but I'm sure shit gonna be complaining about it the whole way. Anyway, what I should do at this point is go and make some more progress in Remnant, but you and I both know I'm going to fire up Dead by Daylight after uploading this video to get more Survivor pips. I'm hoping this month will be the first month I get Iridescent 1 rank in at least one category, so peace!